and welcome to the First Watch podcast. My name is Drake. I will be your host for this podcast. I will be joined by a rotating group of friends who come together and discuss their first watches, whether they be from the 1920s, the 2020s, or anything in between. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-heavy podcast, so if you haven't watched the movie already, you could either do one of two things. You could either, one, join us for the conversation and decide whether or not you want to watch the movie for the very first time, or two, you can pause this podcast, go watch the movie for the first time, and then come back and join us for the conversation. Now, without further ado, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the combo.
Welcome back to the First Time Watch Pod. It might be somebody else talking today. It's Vikash. I hope everybody's doing well. Today we're back with an episode that's about something that we didn't expect to be talking about. We were supposed to be talking about Cary Fukunaga's 2015 Beasts of No Nation, which will come later. But today we're talking about the 2025 Kirk-directed movie called I Swear.
Yep.
It is a movie that recently garnered a bit of an issue at the BAFTAs. And I say an issue, a controversy. The reason why I'm pitching this up today to Drake is, why are we doing this movie today?
Well, let me okay. So off the rip, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I am not black. Very obviously. I am about the same color as a sheet of paper. However, I am disabled. I have mild cerebral palsy. I do not have Tourette's. I do not know what it's like to have Tourette's. I do know what it's like to be born with a disability and have issues and have people look at you a certain way because of the way that you were born.
Look down on you.
Yeah. Every week. I cannot tell you how many times I will go out in public and have people stare at me just because of the way I walk, and probably have preconceived notions of the level of intellect that I may hold. Because of that, this past week and a half has been very interesting for me. More specifically on Twitter, that has been a hellscape for the past week and a half for me and a lot of other people that I know that are also disabled. For those of you who don't know, during the BAFTAs ceremony not too long ago, about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago at this point from the time that we're recording, there was an individual by the name of John Davidson. John is actually very well known in the UK. He is Scottish. He has Tourette's. He has a very severe form of Tourette's. I think I'm going to mess up the pronunciation of his version of it, but it is corporalia, I think is how you say it, or corporalia. It is a severe form of Tourette's that basically takes a lot of the intrusive thoughts that you would have and vocalizes them unintentionally. And it causes you to hit people. It causes you to do things that your body does not know it is doing until it is too late. You will never know what's coming. You can try to suppress it, but the thing is that when it comes to Tourette's, it's painful for people to suppress things. It actually physically hurts for people to try and suppress any of the tics that they're going through, whether they be like vocal or with their like moving of their body. It physically hurts for them to do so. During the BAFTAs, John was in the audience. People were made aware that John was in the audience. Those in the UK know who he is. They have actually known who John Davidson is since he was 15 years old. He is now in his 50s, close to his 60s. In that time that he has had Tourette's since he was 15, he has been an advocate for Tourette's in the UK. Everybody knows who he is. They've seen his documentaries that the BBC has done. They've seen a lot of the things that he has done through Channel 4, ITV, a lot of these things. People know who he is. For the American audiences and the other audiences that didn't know who he was that were at the BAFTAs, they were made aware of who he is prior to the award ceremony taking place. Alan Cumming went up to the stage and brought John along with him, and they explained to the audience that John has a severe form of Tourette's and basically what that may entail. So people knew that he was in the audience and that he
Or not
was.
people knew, but like not
They
everybody
didn't
knew.
know. Yeah, not everybody
Because the
knew.
problem was the people. It's like when it comes to these things, like pretty much like the movie people, like the people who rock the red carpet, they're the ones that show up the last. But just in general, the fact is that people knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And the BAFTAs knew what was going on. BBC knew what was going on. And they knew who they had in the audience. And the fact is that what happened with Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, from their perspective,
Yes.
it sucks, and we all agree with that. But the
Yes.
fact is that what preceded was, or first of all, BAFTA, BBC, their censoring and everything, they messed up big time
Yeah.
in general.
Let me finish one thing real quick.
Yeah.
Just to show the layout of the entire audience, right?
Yeah.
John was 40 rows back from everybody.
And they put a mic next to him.
Yes, I was about to get there.
Yeah.
They put him 40 rows back because he requested to be further back. He didn't want to be near the front because he didn't want something like this to possibly happen. They did put a mic on him. They apparently, from other people who have been in past BAFTAs, like in the audience for past BAFTAs, they've said that for the disabled people that are usually in the audience who have worked on films, been in films, whatever, that are being honored at the BAFTAs, they will put a microphone near them because it's easier for them to be able to say whatever they need to say at the table without having to get up and go to the stage if they're being honored or whatever while at the BAFTAs. This feels like a deliberate setup by the BAFTAs and the BBC. 100% feels like a deliberate setup by them. Jamie Lawson recently, who was in Sinners and is a castmate of both Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan, made this very clear a couple days ago during the NAACP awards at the red carpet. She made it very clear that yes, it is a terrible situation, but they exploited not only Delroy and Michael B. Jordan, they also
And Hannah Beachler.
They also exploited the fuck out of John Davidson. Now,
Yeah.
I want to say really quickly, this is fucking horrible. This is a bad situation for John Davidson to be in. This is a really bad. I feel bad for Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. They handled it very well while on
Like kings.
Like they handled
Are
it
you kidding me?
very well while on the stage. The problem has become very recently that people are being extremely ableist towards John Davidson. And I mean, I have not seen this much
Put it this
ableism
way.
in my life
Yeah.
on Twitter.
And the problem is that they are just judging.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no who is John Davidson. There's no what's going on. It's just, oh, this guy did this, then that's wrong.
Yeah.
Right? It's saying that, there's like a classic story in India about like a mongoose. And the mongoose lives in a house with a single mother and a child. And the mongoose essentially is just like their pet, right? The mom goes to get water. She leaves the baby sleeping and the mongoose in the house. And a snake comes in the house. The mongoose pounces at the snake, kills it, saves the baby's life. But he goes outside like, hey, like I did something good today,
Yeah.
But the mom just sees a face full of blood. And what does she expect? She kills the mongoose, then goes inside and sees the situation that they actually saved the life of their child. And that's the situation. It's such a rudimentary story, but it's fundamentally the issue that people judge people and don't understand what the situation is before they do so. You know,
Yeah.
we shouldn't be judging people in the first place or dismissing them, but what they're doing right now is just blindly doing that to someone who, they don't know their situation. And I think this movie itself is they need, like, everyone just needs to watch the movie, right? This movie is almost like an answer to the issue itself that these people aren't, listening or understanding or empathizing, right?
Yeah, and half the time they're not willing to. Actually, majority of the time they're not willing to.
Yeah, because
The
it doesn't shape their world. It doesn't matter to them. So why should they learn, right? It's
Yeah.
people will be empathetic if it's convenient to them, but how do you become empathetic when you have no skin in the game?
Yeah.
Selfless empathy.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
The biggest thing that I've seen from a lot of people is that, you know, they're calling John Davidson racist. Fucking wild. Um, it's insane. I understand that he said a racist slur. Of course. Yep. But two things can be two things can come from this. Yes, he said a racist slur, but also it's not his fucking fault. It's the BBC's fault. It is BAFTA's fault. 100%.
And it's not like he meant to say that,
No.
or he would say that, or he believes that, or
No, and that's
like
what the consensus has been online for the past 2 weeks, is that it's
like
been his fault, and he wants to say it, therefore he did. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
I think one of the best examples from, like, I guess the documentaries that he's been in
Yeah.
that they show in the movie at the end. And I'm sure people who in the UK have seen him, but he's literally trying to cross the road, and he'll tell his dog to, like, he'll just, or his tick will or not his tick, but his Tourette's will be like, "Oh, go!" Like, but
Like,
then
go
he
across,
literally is like, "No, no, no, stay, go, no, stay, go, no, stay." It's like
yeah.
his body's working, diametrically against him. And I think, when it comes to this movie itself, I think it's like it does such a great job of helping you understand what the situation is, but also that there's no peace for this man, there's no quiet. He can't go into a library because he will just, yell, shout, curse at somebody. And people need to understand what this is and how it is. Like, do you know anybody with Tourette's? I told you, I grew up with somebody, for less than a year of school who had Tourette's, who was in my class. And I've seen it up front. It's
Yeah.
no joke.
The only people that I knew that had Tourette's had a very mild form of it. Like, very mild. Um, like ticks in the face, and that was about it.
Okay.
Like, they
The
didn't
guy I'm
have any
talking about,
vocalizations, no nothing like that. It was just, like, kinda, like, small ticks of, like, the neck, the head, stuff like
yeah.
that. It wasn't anything crazy, but even then, in fucking middle school or whatever, I understood, "Hey, man, can't help it." But then again, I'm also coming from a different lens of other people who are in other situations, and I treat them the way I'd wanna be treated, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
And I will say, like, honestly, from like a 12-year-old perspective, from what I remember, it wasn't easy. But
yeah,
even then, like, I would go out of my way. Like, I remember we were typing we were sitting at like a row of computers at the back of our class, or on the side of the class back of the room, uh typing essays, right? I'm sitting there just typing away. He comes and sits beside me, and he picks up a ruler and starts smacking my hand with the ruler, right? And I'm like, "Hey, can you stop?" Right? And I'm like, okay, I go back to typing. He hits me a few more times. I'm like, buddy, you gotta stop doing this, man. I'm just trying to be nice, because I'm not getting mad, but there's a way you could tell somebody to stop doing it, right? And then my teacher, this lady, yanks this. I felt like she lifted him out of his chair, and took him outside and yelled at him and this and that. And I felt bad. And now I, like, I'm revisiting these memories. I'm like, she was kind of wrong to do that, Like, he didn't need all that, but you could have just pulled him aside gently and just be like, "Hey, you got to stop doing this," or, "Wait a minute," or something, or told me to move. I'm fine. Like, but yeah, it's something where people see. The movie even talks about it. How do you understand? You know, After 9/11 in this country, there's a lot of hate against brown people, especially Arab people, people from the Middle East, right? It still kind of is there to some extent. But the fact is that what people have done who look like them isn't what everybody is, you know? And if you say that everyone is bad or everybody is good, I don't believe either one, you know? We have all varying different, abilities of good and bad within ourselves, and we have to live with that, and we have to rise above it. But for him, anybody, and see, that's the problem. I was writing on my letterbox yesterday after watching the movie that, I don't even like the word disabled, because it's like, it feels almost derogatory when people use it,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
I don't think you're disabled in a sense,
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
don't think it's not that you don't have the ability, it's just you were born different,
yeah.
and
I
that's not a bad
wrestle with
thing,
the word a little bit myself.
because
Um,
it's like you should own the word, no doubt,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It to me, if I was up on stage getting something and he would have shouted retard out while I was up there,
Yeah,
I'd probably have the same reaction that they did, mostly just taken aback at the fact that it was shouted, obviously.
yeah.
But I'm not gonna lambast the man like everybody else has been doing.
But see, that's the problem, right? Even Hannah Beachler, who he literally yelled at,
Yeah,
he like John, you literally yelled at her,
yeah,
and even she, I follow her on Twitter, and even she's like, "Hey, yeah, the situation isn't cool, but like, I 100% understand what's going on
yeah,
and empathize. Like you can't just." And this was like right afterwards that day. It's not like
yeah,
she was waiting for somebody. It's just, I know, obviously we've talked about it, I know her, and like, just in general who she is and all that. So it's just, even the people who are in the situation understand.
yeah.
Like, why doesn't everybody else,
Well, it just comes down to
and
education. Like,
it's education, empathy, and understanding, right?
yeah.
And people don't want to understand, they want to judge, they don't want to understand.
Well, in the States, we, don't really talk about disabilities in a favorable light. Hell, disabled people weren't even given rights in the United States until 1990. Um, Solidified rights for disabled people in the UK were not until 2015, but yet they still have a better understanding of people with disabilities than we do.
But that's
Um,
because of there's two different things. One is, people like John,
yeah,
you know it's about people with those issues that, share what their situation is, and, give notoriety to it in a sense. They go out and try to make a difference and make it an accessible thing, that, yeah, this is, people like me exist, and you need to know how to deal with us,
yeah,
like, you can't just, we're not like everybody else. You got to give us a little bit more love than you give everybody else, because, yeah, I mean, like, it's this movie, they do both sides so well.
yeah, they do.
They show you how people are so quick to judge, and then they also show you how people are so quick to also understand, uh or one of my favorite actors ever since I've seen him, Peter Mullen. He plays a character in this movie where he pretty much automatically, like, he was told beforehand, I guess, that, what his ticks are and everything, that what his condition is, and he's fine with it. Besides, one issue, one thing that happens is funny in the movie, but it's pretty crazy that people don't feel the need to understand what's going on, and I understand if it's something that you don't see, but this is something where if you see somebody with Tourette's, you will know exactly what's happening, but even then, people just are quick to assume that, oh, just because you said one thing, that is a bad thing. And we can't always be quick to understand what's going on with people, because we don't know what's going on with people in general. And to say that people with conditions that we're not aware of, maybe you need to, you know take another step back and understand what's going on,
Well, the problem is that a lot of times when um when people would be introduced to people like this, a lot of disabled people are actually segregated um
Yeah.
from schools, from classrooms, things like
Yep.
that. I dealt with this a little bit in the beginning of Being younger, being in school, they wanted to do that with me. They wanted to put me in sped classes.
That yep.
My mom fought tooth
SPED meaning special education
yeah,
classes.
special education classes. My mom fought tooth and nail to make sure that that did not happen, um, for very good reason, because she knew that if they did, uh, put me in those classes, that I would be treated very differently than what I should have been. Um, and I think that it does disabled people maybe a service, but also a disservice, to do that, because you're not exposing uh, able-bodied people, regular people, whatever the hell you want to call people who are not disabled, to these different types of people. So when they're not around them, they're not going to understand because they don't have to. Uh,
And that's the thing, like they could easily fix that, you know?
oh,
You
easily.
could
They just don't want to, because the thing is that disabled people are seen as different and other. Therefore, they're gonna push them off to the side. They don't want to deal with it.
you know
Teachers
what the
don't
thing
want to
is?
deal with it.
I don't mean this, to to bring congruence to the issue of race in this country, but
Oh,
it's
it's
pretty
very
much like
much.
saying
Yeah, it's the same thing.
saying that like separate but equal in the sense that like sped classes aren't any different. There's just different kids, so they have a different curriculum, or the way that they are taught is different or something like that. And you know, I think even then you could have those classes and then still, have some sort of place where, in a school where kids all are present together,
Uh,
And my friend, he's a teacher, and he loves his sped kids,
yeah,
Like that's one of because I think he does gym, but he does health, and he also you know, he he's around them a lot, and it's not like these aren't kids with big hearts and so much love to give,
yeah, and
And to say that they have so much love to give and then they're met with hatred, automatic hatred, not like earned hatred, automatic hatred. That's wrong.
yeah. What a lot of these morons don't realize is that when they're going after people like this for things that they cannot control, um, you know, the black people who have disabilities, they're gonna continue to be pushed by the wayside.
Yeah.
They already are by large margins. They are not taken seriously when it comes to disability. Same with, you know, Indian Americans, same with anyone who is of a different race, who is not white, who has disabilities. They're pushed by the wayside easily. Um, when you do things like this and respond in ways like this, you are only going to make that worse for your own community. They don't realize
Yeah.
that, or they just aren't smart enough to make the connection, but it
Or
is going to
patient enough to
happen.
understand. I mean, it's because for them, whatever happened at the BAFTAs, they're just gonna write it off. Okay, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
They're not even gonna know. With it being a week and a half, how terrible. It's a terrible situation for John too.
Yeah, 100%.
Just and obviously he feels terrible about it.
And if the
And
people watch this movie, they'd realize that, because
it's not
it's
like
very
he,
obvious in the beginning he wanted to kill himself because of his fucking disability, because it drove his dad out of his family because his dad couldn't fucking handle it.
yeah, and that the problem is that people they're just gonna want to judge.
Yeah.
This I mean, like literally, you could. This movie is empathy, right?
Yeah.
Movies are empathy.
Yeah.
We say that, and this movie is literally that. Because by the time, like in the movie, about 30 minutes in, I started crying for no reason. I was like, I mean, there was a reason because of what was about to happen, but I didn't even know it was about to happen.
Yeah.
You just feel a full breath of emotion just from the filmmaking about the situation that he's in, the situation he was born into, and it's like people need to understand that no one does this by choice. It is just the cards that you're dealt. It doesn't mean that you're any less of a human. That's my point. And people, it's not like I think that if you try hard enough, things can be understood. But it's the fact that people are stopped trying. You know, People are not making an effort outside of themselves. And yeah, we live in a world right now that's pretty apathetic. They don't want to try. I would say that people think that there's no reason to try, or that they're not being given a reason to try, but I think everybody's given a good reason to try, to, you know, have a relationship and understand people, And it's not like I don't know disabled people in my life. Before you, I do. I've grown up around this, and it's not like it was like a big thing, but it's been present. My one of my close family friends, he was supposed to die when he was a kid. They gave him 3 months to live, but this man,
Same.
okay, I don't want to cry, but because not out of a bad reason, but like this man legitimately, he ran businesses. He had a wife. He got married. He had kids. He had such a big heart, and that was all when he can't even walk, And he would walk, meaning like he made rails around his house so he could walk. He didn't take help from anybody for anything when he didn't need to, And he was such a strong human being. And you know, you don't really pick up as that, on that stuff as a kid, but then you realize like that's a strong human, And to be able to, you know, not outgrow the issues that you have, but to live with them and despite them, be a human being. That is important, That's inspirational. That's perseverance. I think we learned about that with Christopher Reeves, like Superman Christopher Reeves, because of what happened with him and with his paralysis. And the problem is that, or not a problem, I think one of the gifts of this movie is that to show what John did with his life. That's an inspirational thing, that despite being given every out to kill himself, to hate people, to fight people, to do all these things, he didn't do that. He actively took the time to share what's going on, to try to change things, because I don't think it necessarily changed anything for him, but it did for everybody else coming behind him. And that is what humans do, right? We try to make sure that whatever we go through, that the next people, they don't have to go through that. They don't have to endure the pains we endured, right? And that's whether, it's your family, whether it's a societal thing or anything like that. Hopefully, the inherent human thing is to make sure we don't go through the pain that was there before, right? And this is the thing, is knowledge and understanding. You need to know what this is. And I will say, I've seen some pretty brutal, like videos of British doctors back in the 70s and 80s. Like they're essentially triggering tics in disabled people. They have like neurological tics. Like one of them is called chorea, Chorea. And if you just look up Korea and like British, like probably like British test video or something like that, you will see this man literally just like pushing a man's arm down to like, and he'll start spazzing out.
Yeah.
And not because they're trying to hurt them, but they're trying to research this and try to figure out what's causing this and how can we is a neurological neurophys disease,
Yeah.
and they're just how can we help them?
Yeah.
And
But a lot of times they were done very incorrectly and inhumanely.
exactly, and that's why they
Um,
stopped doing
yeah.
that. That's why, like, the videos I'm talking about, they're archaic videos, and I'm like, you might have had the good intention, but it's barbaric what you were doing to these people,
Yeah.
just because you know they have some sort of issue with themselves.
Yeah. It's not lost on me that, if I were born in the 70s or 80s or, late 60s, there would have been a possibility that I would have been subjected to shit like that too. Or at least not set up in the same way that I am now.
Yeah,
There are still some issues with, uh, disability, at least within the school system or just out and about in
there's a
general.
lot of issues.
Like,
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times, like I said it in the beginning of this, but I can't tell you how many times I will go to my local mall, which is where my theater is connected, um, and I will get there around the same time that the, sped classes will get there on a Friday, and I will have those teachers looking at me, um, and kind of wondering like, wait, is he supposed to be one of ours? Like I've actually had that. I had one of the teachers come up to me one time years ago when I looked a little bit. I was already out of high school and was I think I
But you
was.
look younger in
I
general,
know, I know, I
brother.
do.
You look younger,
Um,
okay?
I had
That's a
one,
good thing.
kinda, maybe. I had one come up to me.
Give it a few years, give it like 20 years, you'll be like, I look
You
good.
know, that's what they keep telling me. I don't know if that's gonna be the case though. Um,
I mean, I look old already. I'm bad boys too. You look 30.
yeah. Anyway, I had one of the parapros come up to me and ask me, in a very condescending tone, "Did you lose your group?" And I was like, I I said something I wasn't necessarily proud of, like, later, a couple years later, but I was like I looked at her and I was just like, "I'm not fucking retarded. Like, don't talk to me like that." And it it sent me down a spiral, um,
Yeah.
and it sucked. Like, I can't tell you how many times working in retail, I would be talked to as if I was not fully competently there, all the time. The condescending tone
Uh,
that I would get is insane because the tone that I would get would be completely different from everybody else every single
okay.
time. Yeah, and just like in the movie, as we saw in I Swear, when he was dealing uh, with his disability, um, when he was just kind of starting to deal with his disability, and it was starting to come to head. A lot of the kids that were at the school that he attended were not very kind to him. Um, the teachers even more so, because they didn't know how to deal with it, so they only dealt with it in a way of punishing him, um, which I'm sure still happens within special education classes. I know that all the teachers are like trained, and they have to have degrees for special education. But I would not be surprised if you were to look at the cameras every once in a while that a lot of the ways that punishment is portrayed in I Swear happens in real life even to this day.
There's actually
Um,
a young teacher. She was in her mid 30s
yeah.
or upper 30s. She recently passed away during a an ice raid chase in Savannah, which
Right.
I'm sure people you know what I'm talking about. She was a doc. She had a doctorate for it. You know, she was a teacher for special education. But yeah, I know like the system. See, the problem is that the system's not perfect because people aren't perfect. I understand that, but even then, it's like who you're choosing to deal with here. They really genuinely, these are kids who demand the most amount of love that you need to give. You know, and they might not even realize what they're saying or how they're saying it or if it's bad or if it's good, you know, because they might not have the ability to do so. And I say that just with like, you know, the memories of like my buddy telling me things, you know, that he's, you know, had to deal with his special ed kids. And it's not like, you know, something bad. It's just like wholesomely wrong sometimes because he was teaching them like health stuff, you know, like girls' bodies, man, like guys' bodies, and you know, just the way that they were like responding to it was like, you know, it's gonna be funny, you know, like, and they don't mean anything negative by the comments that they're making, and he even understands that obviously, but it's like you need to understand that things aren't as serious as you're making them to be in the sense that like the people who want to hate, the people who don't understand, they're being the ones who are they're the wrong ones because they're making it too serious, you know. In the movie there's a situation that occurs where, you know, he's out, I think at a bar at a club or something, and you know he gets in a fight, and if the guy had listened, you know, as to like what was actually going on, it wouldn't have been an issue. But then again, it's also an issue that, you know, two guys are coming to an head. There's some guys who have so much ego that, you know, they just get into fights, you know, and that wasn't John's case, you know. But also, after John got punched, it's not like he was holding back,
Oh,
and that's
no,
not
yeah, he was
that's not
defending
his
himself.
fault,
Yeah.
because
Well,
it's
that
not like he didn't get beat in this movie,
Oh,
and this
no,
is a real
yeah.
thing that yeah, he didn't mean to say it, and literally he tells this girl like, "Hey, I have Tourette's," right? When he called her
Yeah, called her a
something.
slut, yeah.
Exactly. And there was retribution for that, even though because that's the thing, you told her he has Tourette's. But did she understand that he had Tourette's? Does she know what it is? No.
No.
I didn't know what Tourette's was till I was 12 years old, and someone explained this to me because we had a kid in our class that had it. And listen to this, he was smart because the guy knew Robert, because he the school we went to was like you had to you had to have good grades and this and that and all that whatever,
Yeah.
right? That means it's not like he wasn't smart. It's just he just had ticks. He had different things that would happen to him. It's just my teachers also weren't equipped to deal with him either, and I think that's the reason why he didn't stay.
Yeah. That club scene actually leads to one of the best scenes in the movie, later on down the line whenever he actually goes to court, because of the assault charges that he got from that fight.
Yeah.
Um, uh, what is it?
Tommy Peter Mullen's
Yeah,
character.
Peter Mullen's character is the one that explains, like, everything that John is going through perfectly to a T. Which is why during all of this entire discourse on Twitter, if I can
Yeah.
find that clip that circulates on Twitter, I will just immediately just keep reposting it because it's like, guys, this is exactly why they made the movie, because they explain everything in that fucking courtroom scene.
This movie, it reminds me of Spotlight.
Yeah.
You've seen
Yeah,
Spotlight,
yeah.
right? Not because, it's this, not necessarily the same issue, but it's the same thing of like they're uncovering facts for you. The
Mhm.
story itself is uncovering facts and it's doing a bit of a journalism in a sense for the audience that it's teaching you something, And there's been movies about, people with disabilities and things like that before. You know, there's I think it's a movie about Parkinson's, The Awakening, The Awakeners, if with Robert De Niro and
Right, right,
Robin Williams.
right.
And I'm just not like a new thing to do a movie like this, but I think it's still a type of movie that still needs to be made. And it's not because this movie's not tear jerky, is not it's not asking your audience to feel bad for somebody. And I hate those movies. I don't think movies should make you feel bad for anybody unless they kind of deserve it. And I don't think this movie ever gives an ounce of pity to our main character because I don't think, the movie respects him. That's the main thing. They respect his situation. You follow him through his situation and uncover how he's feeling and where he's at in his life through it, right?
Yeah. I
He doesn't mean to hit who's the guy's the mom's name? She was amazing in the movie. The mother that actually like he moves in with.
Yeah, Dottie
Dottie
is the real
is the
woman's
character's
name,
name.
yeah.
Oh, okay. But
Or
he
no,
hits her
Dottie
on
is the
accident.
character, but is the real one. They're portraying the real woman
A real
Dottie.
woman.
Yeah,
Okay. And he literally punches her in the face,
yeah.
bloody lip and all.
You even see it in the
And
end of the credits.
yeah, you do. And the crazy thing is that like, anybody in like that's what I'm saying. Like, how much love do you have to give to somebody that like, yeah, this man literally just punched you in the face, but he didn't mean to. And what did she say? It's on me for not realizing I'm on that side of your body, right?
Yeah,
That like you have this tick and you're like spazzing your hand I don't know if that's the right term, but like, your hand is
jerking your
making a
hand up.
spasm
Yeah,
like 3 times an hour, right? I was just in the wrong place, right?
yeah,
And I don't know. It's a thing where that, and then remember when Dottie goes in like a second time and there's a girl working there, and he's like, "I find you attractive" or
oh,
something,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and even she kind of just like dismisses it because she knows who he is, right? She's
Yeah,
used to
she's
his ticks.
yeah, he's been there so many times with his mother that she knows who he is at this point. She even says, hey to him whenever he gets there. Like, "Hey, John." Like,
Yeah,
doesn't think anything of it. Yeah, she may be taken aback for a second, but she moves on, like, cause
yeah.
she knows.
And the thing is, like, that's the bare basic, right? That you can acknowledge a human being, but you don't have to, like, you don't have to. I'm like, yeah, maybe some of the things they say is funny. I think this movie is darkly. What do you think? Is this
Oh,
movie
s
funny to you?
oh, yeah, yeah, I
I
cracked up
think
several times.
this was a dark comedy of the best ways possible.
Yeah, and
You know,
I do wanna say, the one thing I do like about well, there are many things that I like about this movie. Um, but the one thing that I do like about disability movies from the UK versus from the US, um, we talk a lot about, like, the glorification of disabilities and, like, almost I don't know if pornification is the word of, like, struggle, but
yeah.
this
No, I know what you mean. No,
yeah,
you're right. Because think about these. Do you remember? There's a movie with the violinist
yeah,
with Jamie Foxx and Robert Downey Jr.
yeah,
That movie, never seen it, but the premise of it just disgusted me. The
yeah,
Soloist, I
a
think that's the name of the
soloist, yeah,
movie, because it is what you're talking about. It is look at poor people, look at this, look at that, whatever
yeah.
it is. It's trying to justify a not an empathy, not an understanding, but glorify this situation of like, oh no, it's a pity.
It's a
They're
yeah,
trying to
it's a
pity.
pity thing, and that's usually what happens in the US when it comes to disability, like, media in general. It happens a lot, you know? Speechless was one of the first shows that I had
Oh,
seen that
have
they did
we've
not
never talked about
do that.
Speechless.
No, we haven't, and I could go all
I
day about that
love
show.
I love Speechless.
Yeah,
It is
he has a
like
more
they
severe
canceled
version
it.
of what I have,
They canceled it after 4 seasons, and
which
it
was
was a crime.
yeah, it was.
It's a great, fantastic family show,
Yeah,
and
Minnie
it's
Driver,
not
and
the fact that they yeah, fantastic. She's great in it. The dad, the kids, they're all awesome in it. And the fact was that you have a show based around this, but it was never anything that
it wasn't
you
preachy.
felt bad about. It wasn't no, it wasn't preachy. It wasn't pitiable, or it wasn't anything like that. It was just an existence of this. And like I said, I know that he has CP in the show,
Yeah.
but it's not like I'm like, oh, you have CP too. Let's talk about this. It is what it is,
Yeah,
right?
well, it
We
was a natural
literally
point
have
that
not
we
talked about
yeah,
that till this
we haven't,
second.
yeah.
I love that
Um,
show.
yeah, I
Jamie,
do too.
I literally
Great.
was I was literally looking up. I was like, why can't I find like a good copy, like a to own the show or whatever?
I
And
can't find it either because I was looking for it as well, like, a long time ago
yeah,
whenever it ended, and, I can't even find, like, the first season on DVD or Blu-ray or
yeah.
anything. I'm definitely gonna look for it some more, and hopefully I
But
can
it's
get it, but
But you're right, that's a show that, it was novel, it was genuine, and it
yeah.
was such a great, format just to,
Well,
that this is a thing.
I think the reason that that is the case is because someone like Zach Anner, who also has cerebral palsy,
Yeah,
was a writer on the show.
really.
So
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah, so he was a writer on the show. I can't remember if he was for all 4 or 5 seasons, whatever it was, but he was in the beginning, and that's what helped make it sound genuine. It didn't sound
Yeah,
preachy, it didn't sound like this weird pornification of a disease or not of a disease, but of a disability. It didn't sound like they were trying to go, "Oh, good for him," because that's
yeah,
basically what all disability media in the United States is, at least on a large scale. There are smaller, um, like indie films and indie projects that are a bit better when it
yeah.
comes to talking about disability, simply because they have the right people in place and they're not trying to make as much money as possible off of it. They're trying to tell a story and tell it right. And
You know
that
what's
is a
funny?
lot like what I Swear is.
Roger Deakins is like, yeah, like, why can't we make more character driven stories? I'm like, those are the character driven stories that I want to listen and see.
Yeah.
And the reason why I didn't look up anything, like I saw the poster for I Swear, and I was like, oh, I read the premise. I'm like, oh, I need to watch this, right? I told
Yeah.
you, and we didn't talk about this. I was just like, I saw it a couple months, like in January. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I got to check this out. I'll get the movie, and this situation happened with the BAFTAs, and I was like, everything lined up. I'm like, I told you, I was like, nah, we got to get, with what's, relevant in our mind right now. This is a relevant
Oh,
conversation
dude.
because the movie's not even out in America yet. It comes out next month.
Yeah.
And I would highly recommend anybody go see this in the theater because
Yeah.
this is why we have movies.
Yeah.
This is why we go to the theater.
No, if
You
it
know,
if it hits theaters for whatever reason, in the US,
we
I'm
will be
going.
there.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, I've already seen it. I've already gotten what I need to get out of it. But I
But
will be
I'm gonna
there.
go for one more cry.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, one more cry, but also it's to show, you know, that I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to go
There's
and see
a
these things.
there's a show on Netflix called Atypical.
Yeah. I haven't
I'm
watched it
not
yet, but I know what it is. Yeah.
it's yeah, that's a great show too. And the thing is, like, these are, you know, stories that are being told about people with disabilities or they're on a spectrum, like that kid's on the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
And these are things where if you see stories like this, especially ones that aren't like all too serious, then you're able to, essentially kind of sneak it into audiences,
Yeah.
meaning like they just exist there, did you watch Wicked for Good?
Yeah, yeah, I saw it in
And
theaters.
I think one of the greatest things they did was they made the one disabled character someone you hate.
Yeah.
Not because of the
Yeah.
disability,
But because
but
she was kind
because
of
as a
a
character.
bitch, yeah.
Meaning like the level of it, right? It's not the casting wasn't, because of, she was a hater or whatever. It's just,
Yeah, yeah.
she happens to be disabled and she's a hater character. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is representation
Hey,
finally,
disabled people can be assholes too. I've met a
And that's
couple.
why no, but that's why I'm saying. Or actually, the funny thing is in the show, it's Speechless. The one dude he hates.
Who? I don't
No, like
recall.
there's like
It's been a minute.
another like disabled kid.
Oh,
I
no,
think he
that's
has
Zach
CP
Anner.
also.
No, that's Zach Anner.
That's
That's him.
that's
Yeah,
Zach
yeah.
Canner.
That's
Oh,
Zach
he's
Anner.
hilarious.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love him.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay, because he'll come in and be like, yeah, I'm hot. You ain't hot. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
okay, that's
That's
awesome
him,
because
yeah.
he's so funny in it.
Oh, he's great. Like, he had a YouTube channel where he was talking about disability and stuff, and I don't know if he does anymore. I haven't seen it pop up on my timeline, but, like, yeah, like, he helped write the show, stuff like that, so I love Zach.
And okay, I think you're gonna be so the director for I Swear,
Mhm.
his name's Kirk Jones, and
Yeah, I saw it,
I was
yeah.
like, why do I know this name? And he's the guy who made Nanny McPhee.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay. I'm like, okay.
I saw that and I
And
was
I
like,
think,
"Wait, what?"
and I don't mean this in a bad way. Like that's kind of the person you need to make a story like this.
Yeah.
I don't think you need, some. You don't need David Fincher to tell the story.
Fuck no.
Because I don't like it's just not the first of all, it's not the type of movie he would make, but in the sense that like you want someone who's got a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And I think he makes all the movies he's made, he's got a lot of heart. And this movie has a lot of heart that just it feels so effortless in the movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie that it makes you empathize with people you might not even think you'd empathize with at the beginning of the movie, right? Because he moves out of his house with his mom, and his mom is talking down to him and telling him to essentially stop his nonsense, that you need to stay on the medication, you need to do this, you need to do this. You essentially need to shut yourself off from the world in a sense, with what you are as a human. And obviously Dottie helps him, figure out his life. But his mom was also dealing with something and he literally tells his mom that like I couldn't have coped with it either, and this is something where I know parents with disabled kids or kids with like my friend, his like Zach, his brother's autistic, not that I'm trying to put his business out there, but like I know like his parents, I know other like close family friends who their son, he's about 20 now, and he's full nonverbal, but heart of gold, love that kid, love his whole family. But you know I've seen it, I've seen the spectrum of it, and these families, their stories need to be told in the sense that of course it's not easy. No one said this is going to be easy, but you do what you have to do for the people that you love. you know? And I mean that, I always talk about family. It's a big proponent of my life. And I believe whatever you define as family in your life, you should, have responsibility, care for that, hold on to that. But that should also like transgress to the world, you know, that if I care, I'm going to show up. I'm going to make sure that I understand what the situation is, right? I was telling you about someone I know. Uh, he doesn't understand trans people, you know, and he's asking me these questions not because he's confused, or yes, he is confused, but not because he hates them or he has something against them, but just that he's dealing with a problem with somebody, with a student being bullied for it. And he's like, how do I become better, you know how do I make sure that they're more accepted, that they don't deal with this hatred,
Yeah.
you know and that's what love is. That's what empathy is. That's what it should be, that we need to understand it so we can all be better.
Well, that's the overarching message of the movie. Ask
Yeah.
questions.
And
It's
don't and
fine.
it just yeah, you can't see, that's the problem. You can't be butthurt about questions either, right? Like
Yeah.
people, they don't mean, like, if they're asking questions, number one, they're doing more than most people are doing in the first place, right?
Yeah. Now, granted, you have to do it in good faith.
Yeah.
Like if someone
Some
comes up to
people, they
me,
ask for no reason.
yeah, if someone comes up to me and is like, "Hey, I just have a few questions. I'm curious. Like, is it okay if I ask a few?" I'm like, "Yeah, go for it. I don't care." Like, if you do it in good faith, then that's fine. But if you have this sort of like obvious tone or agenda coming before you even ask the questions,
Yeah.
most of us are gonna fucking pick up on it and we're gonna just shut off and we're just gonna be like, "Well,
And
fuck
get
you."
mad.
Yeah,
Yeah, get mad,
because
as you should,
yeah,
because I know exactly what you mean.
because it happens all the time. Like, I got it all the time. Uh, I'd be stupid to say that, the way that people talk to me would have not have been a contributing factor as to why I would drink whenever I go out in public, because it would be the only way I could deal with it. Um,
And that's what I was telling you about. The fact is that if you give people hatred, whether they want to accept it or not, if you tell people that you're bad, this, you're that, they might not, they might start to believe it.
mhm.
Whether as strong as they might be, they might start to believe it.
Yeah,
I'm talking about people in India, in marginal, I said, quote unquote, yet again, same thing. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you're a human being, but
yeah.
in quote unquote marginalized communities where people were giving so much hatred to them that they were literally naming their kids after devils, like uh like little like different demons in India. He's like, yeah, that's just, that's, it is what it is. And that, like, how much hatred do you have to give people constantly for them to think that way? And they changed their life, and these are people I'm talking about that have changed their lives because people came to them with love and understanding, you know
Do you do you see a difference um between the way disabled people are treated here versus in India? Is it starkly different? Is it not?
I think I think it depends
Because
on both, but I think
I've seen documentaries
ultimately
that don't look good, but
it depends on where it is,
yeah,
because uh like my family friends, they're Indian, they have a disabled child, but I think the problem is that people might talk about it more than anything,
yeah,
I think my people are more pitiable,
okay,
meaning that they show more pity than they should. There's
yeah,
literally a word for it. They you know how, they say bless your heart,
yeah, here in the South, yeah.
but even more than that, not even that. That's kind of nice.
You know how much I
What
got
the
that
word,
as a kid?
yeah, a lot.
Ooh, buddy.
But it's like they have a different word like that, like, oh, bicharo, like it's a word that literally comes from the for the most part comes from the intonation of, like, of pity, like, oh no, like, whatever happened to him, this happened or whatever. Then they start with that word, like, bless your heart, this, that, and the other, right? It's just like that.
And it's always
And
bless your
that's
heart. Here, at least here in the South.
and my mom says it, she doesn't say it out of, like, to be pitiable to anybody, because she's just not like that. But I tell her, I'm like, stop using that word, because everyone else who does, like, she grew up using it, even though she doesn't have any malice in her heart. I'm like, other people use this word, and they really mean to look down on people, you know. And like I told you, people wanna look down on, and I was telling you, it's like disabled people. They want to look down on them so they can think they're better than other people. You know, they need a victim in a
Well,
sense.
I don't. I've
And
always had a problem with the punching down, looking down, uh, way of viewing things.
yeah,
So on the day that we're recording this, is like a day or so after, the day after the NAACP awards.
yeah,
At those awards, they obviously made light of the situation. Dion Colin specifically, um, made a joke about, you know, if there's any white people who have Tourette's, basically fuck around and find out kind of situation. Um, and I don't
I think
like the whole
that's a
punching.
dark joke,
It
but I
is.
don't know if that lands. I
It
don't know if
doesn't.
that lands.
It for me, it doesn't. I hate saying that if you're joking about disabled people, you're punching down because that automatically assumes that we are not on level playing field. You're
Yeah,
already basically saying that we are not equal, and I don't like that. Even in disabled, like within the disabled community, it's said a lot where they're like, "Oh, well, doing this punches down to us." It's like, no, like you're automatically setting yourself up to not be on level playing field at all,
I
to
think you
not
can
being
make
seen as
jokes.
equal,
Yeah, I think you
and
can make jokes about it,
but it has to be in
but
good faith.
it's a
That's the
very
thing.
rare thing, you know, because I've seen crowd work things, you know, with stand-up comics, and they have like, you know, disabled people in the audience, and they make great jokes about it. And it is in good, and it's good in faith.
Yeah,
But what the Dion joke, not in good faith,
not at
because
all.
you're literally, you know, the fact that, you know, that this is something he can't control,
Well,
right?
the thing that
Which I understand the intention,
yeah,
but he lost the plot,
yeah.
you know?
Well, the other thing that really kind of upset me as well, not really upset me, it was kind of like, ew. It's kind of like everybody clapping as if like he made this grandiose point of like, oh yeah, see, like it's
But
fucking
like,
insane
but what does that mean? That they're
that they're too
but see that,
stupid to do any research or even care. I think it's complacency, it's complicity,
and like I
it's a
said,
lot of things.
Hannah literally, he literally called her the N-word, you
Yeah.
know? And she understood what his
Well,
situation was.
yeah, and there a lot of these people who um are in this community. I understand that they're upset. I get that. I've reached out to people who um are talking about this on their side of things, and I've been like, "Yo, I get it 100%." Um but calling him racist is insane. He did apologize apparently. Reach out to WB in hopes of getting in touch with Michael B. Jordan and Delroy
Because he
and
doesn't have
Vitor
social media.
because he doesn't have social media. He also doesn't have a PR team. So
Yeah.
this is what people don't understand is like they're like,
He's
we
just a
want a
dude.
grandiose apology. But the thing is they're not gonna get that. They don't need that. The public does not need an apology about this entire thing. Nope, you don't need it.
Even
I'm
though he
sorry.
put out
Go
a
fuck
statement.
yourself. Um,
Yeah.
he's already put out a statement after an interview. Yes, it took 3 days. But
But
guess what?
he shouldn't have had to in the
No, he
first
didn't
place.
have to because it wasn't his fault. It does suck, right? 100% fucking sucks. But this is not his fault. The only people that he needs to apologize to, at least privately, is Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and Vitor. Yes, I do believe that he should apologize to them privately,
Yeah.
but
Human to
it
human.
is it is it is nobody else's business whether or not he fucking apologizes publicly. He does not need to, because guess what? If it wasn't for the BAFTAs, if it wasn't for the BBC fucking him over, no one else would have heard it other than the people that were in the 39th and 38th row. And that's
So
it.
what's the okay, you know me. I always try to take the positives from situations.
Well, right
And
now there are no positives
this
other than the people who are
there is a
actually
positive.
trying to
That's the
educate people.
positive.
That's
Exactly.
it.
Is that the worst thing, the best thing that can come from this situation is that people get educated, you know? And I think the point of doing this whole episode is the fact that people need, like, I can't say anything to it, you know?
Yeah,
I say, you know, watch this movie. Genuinely, watch this
genuinely
movie.
watch it.
And And even like John wrote a book, called I Swear, and My Life with Tourette's, and that's coming. I think it came out last year also. And the fact is that this is a story worth telling, and isn't he's is they even made it known in the movie that he's not trying to pat himself on the back. He's trying to make sure people know about this, and the only thing we can do with the negative is make it the only positive is to take it upon ourselves to get educated. You know, if we don't learn, then how are we supposed to exist? Whether it's if you're old and you don't know how to text, learn how to text. I don't know, it makes you better or something like that. I'm talking. This is not even something like menial as that. This is like a human to human issue. Like I said, people can easily be like, "Oh no, they have a kid that has this problem," but I'm like, do you know they are actually? I have a friend. His son, he's a little mentally disabled, but he has such a big heart, and the uh the first time he he ever left his mom, like as a kid, was with my dad. And it's not like we knew each other well or anything like that, but he was like, I got this, like, don't worry about it. And he stayed with him, and that's the first time she was like, oh, like, someone, he's gonna be all right, like, and now his son's like, he's like 16, 17, 18, and he's so full of energy and love, and this kid is awesome. I love him. And I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. I don't realize, these experiences I have in my life, but I'm like, oh, like, I know people who deal with this and how much love they have for their kids and how much love that they give themselves. And it hurts me to know that people are just like, oh, this guy's racist. He doesn't know what he's doing. People, like, he can't control it, and even then he's doing the right thing, he's being a full human being and apologizing when he doesn't need to. And we need to do better. That's all it means, right? That's what this movie says. We need to do better. And I count this as being the bare basic of humanity, that you treat people with kindness and with love and with understanding, right? And that matters more than money. It matters more than power. It matters more than any other thing or standard that we want to have in this world that we have right now. So I'm learning. I'm sitting here learning. So the best. And see, that's the thing. I'll sing your praises. Not that I ever need to. It's not my place. But the fact is that you're sitting here doing this. You're starting a podcast. You're doing something that is not because of your disability, but it's with that existence. You're still doing it, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
okay. Put it this way: do you have uh on your like profile or whatever? Do you have it written that you're disabled?
oh, I did, but I kinda
No,
took it
that
off.
that was as a joke.
Yeah,
That
no,
was a
no,
joke.
no, no, I did. I'll usually put something in my bio to the extent of, like, crippled as fuck or something like that, because
But
it's
as a
like
joke.
yeah, because it's a joke, like,
It's-
the gaming stuff that I did as far as, like, content and stuff, the name of my profile was Captain Crip. Like, it's
exactly.
yeah, like, I poke fun of
But
it
you're
because
owning it. You're not
well,
like,
yeah,
oh, like,
because
feel pity for me, or
and
like I'm, or like, it's not in a way. You're not doing it in a sense of like it's a power move.
well, no, I had to. I mean, it's no different than I
It's
mean,
just your existence.
yeah, like, it's no different than people, like, I know this may not seem like an apt comparison to some, but it's like black people taking the N word and gaining that shit back.
Yeah,
It's no
exactly.
different.
It's
So
like
that's
using the
kinda
R
how I
word. I
yeah,
told you about that.
yeah.
How I had someone recently, like on a business call, use that word, and it literally started a tirade of 5 other calls because he used one word. And I like, I don't take lightly to people using that sort of language, especially like acting as if it was like just a common thing to say.
Yeah,
I was like, you literally work for a multi-million-dollar company. You have 100,000 business accounts,
yeah,
and you're talking like this to me. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm not working. I'm not giving you any business anymore. I was already done, but I'm even more done with this.
yeah.
And it's because of you, big dog. Because people need to learn that they think that they have, like I told you, they think they're superior. They
Mhm.
have the ego to think that we can talk this way. And like, he was literally like, oh, don't tattletale, like I'm not a 12-year-old, and using all this language as like a grown man,
Yeah,
as like a 40, 50-year-old man. as if I'm wrong to say something about his language, about his vernacular, that it's like, you can't talk to anybody like that. And if you think that's fine, it's not. And
Yeah.
it's not about PC culture or something like that. We're not talking about that. We
No.
talking about, like, kindness is not a wrong thing, you know? It's not a political conversation.
No. This week and a half or however long it's been, it felt like it's been a fucking month at this point for
Yeah.
me.
No, you said it was a
Um,
week and a half. I was like, I swear to God. I think it's gone by so fast in the sense that, like, it's been so present.
yeah.
So I like, it hasn't left my mind.
I've been fighting it for like every day I've been like going after someone on Twitter. Um, I usually don't do that.
Or
I
going after, meaning like
like
you're trying to
correcting,
talk to
like,
them
yo,
and
what are you
have a
fucking doing?
conversation about, like, what this is and why what they're saying is wrong. You're
Yeah.
trying to educate people. I don't want it to be that people
I'm
say, "Oh, you're going after them in, like, a negative way,"
well,
which
I
you're not.
mean,
You're going
in
after them in a positive way.
kinda, yeah. I mean, like, a lot of
Education's not
times
a bad thing,
no,
okay?
no, no, no. A lot of times I'm like,
But they don't, right? That's the problem.
yeah, it's the people who are constantly trying to get after John, and bring him down, call him racist, all these things. I'm like, you just genuinely don't know what you're talking about. Um, and there was a black girl with Tourette's that ended up getting
Sh
lambasted, off the internet basically because
and
she
she
came
said
in his
nothing wrong,
defense. No.
and she was right. She was 100% right with what she said.
Yeah, but nobody wants to listen to them. So, you know.
And literally, she's the, if you want to count for black people, that women are the most marginalized community out of
Mhm.
probably the most, like,
Yeah, when it comes to health and stuff,
population
yeah.
dense. No, just in general,
Oh, yeah.
even with voting or anything like that, they don't respect, black women enough, just in general,
Yeah.
And the fact is that, like, I understand if you said something wrong or something like that, but they need to learn. They need to educate.
Yeah.
I have a mutual who, she was like, I said something, and I was like, I didn't mean it that way, or, like, like, whatever it is, I'm wrong for saying that. And
Yeah.
that's the big thing to do, is to learn from your experiences, learn from your mistakes. If you don't listen to the journey of life, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Do you Are you where you think you should? This is a like, we talked about it with first days a little bit, but are you where you think you should have been at this point in your life? I think
No.
you would say that you might have thought you weren't even going to be here by now, right?
Oh, yeah, I thought I was gonna be dead. I mean, I doctors from the get-go were like, "Oh, yeah, he's not making it 48 hours." Then it was, "He's not making it 5 years." And it was, "He's not making it 10. He's not making it 13. He's not making it to his 18th birthday. He's not making it to 21." I'm pushing 30, and I don't know how the fuck that even happened, especially after the fact that I essentially tried to drink myself to death, because that was kind of the hope, is that it would just I would just go away because I felt like it would be easier for everybody else around me, if I was. And I never thought I'd get this far. I never, I don't know if it's in this recording, but I, as of this recording yesterday, the 28th of February, I hit a year of sobriety, which I didn't think was going to happen. Um, a lot of my drinking stemmed from the way that I viewed myself, um, due to the way that people in society view disabled people. I viewed myself as a burden. I said it all the time, um, when I was drunk, that I'm a burden and I should just, um, whew,
Yeah,
I should go away, because it'd make it easier on all of the people around me.
yeah,
Um, I told myself constantly that I wasn't worthy of my family, of love, of anything. Um, you know, I I constantly told myself that, like, there's no point because it's not like I'm gonna make anything of my life anyways because of my disability. Um, So the hope was that all the drinking that I was doing would eventually take me. Um, and I had letters written and off to the side for family to find once I was gone. Um, I had those things set aside because I wanted to be gone, essentially. And it's because of the way that I viewed myself, like, the way that others view me. Like, people don't realize that this shit ain't easy. Like, a lot of these people who are coming after John, who are doing this, last a week in his
they don't
fucking
understand.
shoes. Do it. I
Yeah,
dare you. Most of you would
and
put a bullet in your head before you even had the chance to finish the week out. I mean, it's
when he goes into the library in the movie,
yeah,
so I don't know if I think you probably caught it. There's a lot of music in the movie, but at that point they just cut everything out.
yeah,
And through the after he
silence.
puts the thing on, it's just diegetic sound. Is that I was like, and then it just pulls you out of the movie, and I'm like, I started just crying. I was like, I don't know. I was like, this is what it feels like. I was like, you can't understand fully how it feels, but it feels like there's nothing that you can do.
Yeah,
And the problem, see, the thing is, and that's why I love this movie, is the fact that it's like what solved his problem. Meaning not the Tourette's, but what solved his problem was that he had people who gave him love.
mhm,
People who gave him the patience, the time, the understanding. And that he wasn't someone. I don't think anybody can say. We might think that we're burdens on people in our lives or something like that. I understand people might feel that way, but it's never, you know, it's never the answer is not to go away.
yeah,
It's to change what we're doing. I think John's story is actually motivationally inspirational. That and like I told you, I've seen it in my own life, that despite the cards we're dealt, we're still human.
yeah,
You have every right not to be human. You have every right to dismiss, but it's a choice every day to be a human. It's a choice for everybody to be a human every day. Did I do one thing that an animal doesn't do? An animal takes care of its kids. An animal provides for its kids. An animal does all this stuff,
yeah,
eat, drink, everything else. It does all this stuff. Did I do anything today that actually shifted the atoms, made something of this life that I've been given today? I think most people can say they didn't,
yeah,
and that we should strive to make this matter, because it is a gift. Whether I don't, it'd be a lie to say every day is a good day. I think one good day is worth, a lot of bad days.
yeah,
But it's like as long as you're moving to make that ratio, a little less divided, the good days are going up more than the high days, then you know, we're just working, you
yeah,
know, we're trying to do something positive. And it's like people can people can dismiss all they want, but it doesn't, their their uh their judgments aren't my validity. That people can say what they want, they can think what they want, but it's not going to make me any less of who I am. And I would hope that people know that. And I'll tell you, I was thinking about it, I think Monday, no, Tuesday.
mhm,
I was like grateful that Drake's in my life. I didn't tell you this, right? But I'm like, I mean that, I mean it genuinely from the bottom of my heart. And I believe it to my bones that people come into your life for a certain reason. If you the way you live your life is me, it means so much to me the way people live their lives, and that the energy you put out into the world comes back to you. So yeah, what whatever that means. I'm not trying to cry either right now, man, but it's like, I care, and I hope that people have even 1 ounce of care in their day to remove themselves to consider that who we are as humans,
we're all not the same, and that if you have a condition like this where you just yell things, I mean, you just got to understand what's going on. That's all it is. And people don't understand, the judge in the movie, he's like, you need to say it like this, right? He's not educated. And even though he read it, he's like, oh, the law doesn't say that, so it doesn't count. That's why the systems themselves, it's like, that's the problem too. How y'all gonna say that the man is sitting in front of you? That's like saying that you know, Indian people, like the first, I think one of the first people, like Indians that came here, I think he was asking for citizenship, right? And he was out there like, oh, is he white or is he black or like what is he? And obviously he's neither. And they were trying to, justify whatever they were trying to justify. But it's like the systems we live within, maybe they don't even understand who we are, because the systems are made by humans. We're made by, God or whatever, something of another nature. That human nature is not whatever these systems are. You can say, it's the common example for me is that there was a woman who murdered her rapist. They sent her to jail. Was she wrong to murder him? Maybe. But should she have gone to jail for that? No. Because that situation, you have to understand what the situation is, what the morality of that situation is. So, yeah. Very, very lively conversation today.
Very fun and lighthearted conversation.
See, but that's
today.
it's like, for me, it's like, yes, we can be 100,000% serious, but you also have to be completely unserious at the same time, because if you I think you should let these people get to you, in the sense that these people are uneducated. We should be angry about that and make sure that there is a voice that is constantly there, that's sharing that, yeah, we might have this issue, but we're still trying to do what we're doing,
Yeah.
I know a guy, he's Nico. He's on TikTok. I'll send you his stuff. He's been going deaf.
Yeah.
And now, he's fully ASL, but he still does movie content. He still watches movies. He loves movies. He's loved music,
Yeah.
He's got such a power, such a love. And it's not because he's disabled. It's the fact that even though this happened, it doesn't stop him from loving life, loving the art that humans make.
He's a content creator with a disability. Like that's what it is. That's
And
all
that,
it is.
and he's just, he's finding his path. We're all finding our ways. And it's like, no matter what, like if we want to do what we want to do, nothing can stop us. Hell or high water, we're gonna get it done.
I'm gonna be honest.
I hope people know.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's up?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna be honest. Like, it was because of this whole situation that happened at the BAFTAs that an even bigger fire has been lit underneath me.
Yeah.
To get into this industry, just to prove all these fuckers wrong.
Yeah.
And to work in this industry, to be someone in this industry, not with a disability, but in spite of it, I may have cerebral palsy, mild cerebral palsy, but I'm gonna fucking do what I need to get there.
And the thing is, the problem is in the world right now that we have people who are in power that don't have the morals or the values that you might want them to have,
Yeah.
That good moral people need money, they need power, they need all this stuff. But for what reason?
Yeah.
To set the record straight, to make sure that we're putting people on game correctly, And you know me, I'm striving to do the same thing. Whether the system wants me to do it or not, I'm going to do it my way, because I believe in humanity. I really do. My hope for humanity is higher than what their output is currently. It's severely higher. And despite all the negativity on this hatred, I think we can all do better, and we will do better. I think people are doing better, but some people, they're going to stay stuck in the mud. We can't change that, but we can still, yell from the highest mountain that, what we got to do is what we got to do and put it on game. Like in this movie, they have a young girl. She comes and visits John's character, and in real life, she actually is she does have Tourette's. And I remember seeing this great video with her where she's literally just in her car, just trying to. I think she's like an Uber driver or something, and
Yeah, something like that.
and or it's like just a joke. I don't know if it was like a thing, but it's like it's just such a wholesome thing to watch. Just her. She's just trying to live her life. She's trying to just exist.
Yeah.
And that it's not like she got like yelled at for this or something, but it's like the person just understands it's just a good time.
Yeah.
I think people they just they try to take too much out of nothing, or they're stuck in a path where they think that you know their validity is out there. It's with the money, it's with the power, it's with this. It's like, no, your validity comes within yourself. It doesn't come from somewhere else,
Yeah.
so
I will like
but
I do like that they use a lot of other disabled people in this movie and
because
didn't do it in a hokey way. Like it felt
Robert's
genuine.
Robert, who plays who actually, and see, that's the thing, this all like this shroud of this BAFTA moment kind of is a cloud over the fact that Robert won I think best actor
Yeah,
in a
best actor.
film
Yeah.
at the BAFTAs for playing John. And I'm talking about the sheer amount of work he must have done. I can't even tell. I'm like, and it's like
Yeah,
it's
I
not
thought he had it.
and I'm like, and like, you might think that I'm not saying it's a bad thing. The fact is that I understand that there's some feasibility to not casting like a person actually with Tourette's in that role, just, because of the way that they're trying to show the story, and that,
Well,
they're
they're trying to portray John's tics as his tics, but they wouldn't be
yeah,
able to do that with somebody else because
which
somebody else's tics are gonna be somebody else's tics. Like, it's not gonna work
exactly,
that way. So in this
exactly.
case, you kinda can't have someone else with Tourette's trying to portray someone else as having Tourette's. It just doesn't kinda work
It
out
doesn't
that
work.
way.
Exactly.
Um,
And I think Kirk Jones, who directed, I think he said that he cast Robert without an audition or anything. He didn't know he could do this, which would be a hell of a messed up audition.
yeah, because
Act
that
like
means
this
you're
for.
just, like, doing it on the reg.
And apparently Robert actually went to John's village, and he was there for 3 months, and he's interviewing people with Tourette's, and he got in there as an actor, and the work shows, and we always respect that. And I think he did a fantastic job with this role, and
He fucking killed
he
it.
he lands every bit of the emotion of it all, and the young guy who plays the younger John, I thought he did an amazing performance too. Then I was like, I'm hearing all this about Robert, but I'm like, what about the young guy? He was amazing too.
Yeah,
The woman who played Dottie,
yeah.
just
She was
I'll
great.
share my real thoughts afterwards.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the crazy thing was she's sitting there looking at him at the hospital after he gets hurt, after he's assaulted literally. But I was like, she looks like my third grade teacher. I was like, wait, holy, she really did. And I was like, oh, that's why I love her. I guess she was one of my favorite teachers, but I was like, oh, I didn't realize it till now because of the way, with the hair and everything and the glasses. I was like, oh, okay. But she is a great actress. I've seen her in a few other things, but yeah, this is one of those movies where I hope people see it. They need to see it. I think this is these is one of the few movies where it's like a must
Yeah.
watch, not just out of like like this is a movie you need to show kids in school,
Mhm. 100%.
because it's like, oh, it's R-rated movie, is this that, why, what's
Yeah.
the situation, what's the
Yeah, was
you
it
know
what was the rating on this? Was it,
I'm sure it's gonna be
like
R because I don't know if they
17?
have it. It's
Because
probably
usually,
17.
like, 17 or whatever, 15, 17, 13, 15, 17, from what I remember is what their rating system is.
You know what's funny? Bo Burnham made a movie called Eighth Grade.
Yeah, I love that
I love
movie.
that movie. It's just like this very empathetic story,
Mhm.
and they're like, that's an R-rated movie.
Which is
I'm like,
insane.
so you're telling me that 11, 12, 13 year olds who actually like experience this in real life can't watch the movie then,
Mhm.
unless they have an adult with them? I'm
Yeah.
like, how does that track, right? How does that
Well,
make any sense?
apparently, whenever, they were done with the movie and it was premiering, like, she couldn't the actress who was portraying
Elsie, yeah,
Elsie, yeah, she couldn't go
they couldn't watch it, yeah,
to the premiere,
and
which
that's
is
the
wild,
crazy thing.
unless her parents were there.
So it's like we live in an interesting system of all that stuff too, and I would hope that this is a story where I'm like, yo, get the permission slip signed. You need to watch this in the school because this is, the sort of story where you will understand. Kids will, I would hope that, they would see this and understand that people exist like this and that there's more to be learned about people who are different.
I think the BBC needs to take all of the documentaries that
YouTube.
yeah, well, I mean, if they're all there, I didn't look up and see if they're all there.
Yeah.
But if they're all there in their entirety without edits, whatever, as they were shipped out, make kids in the US watch this. Like, there is
Yeah.
no reason in hell why we shouldn't be educating people at the same level for disability as the UK. Like, the UK is, like, at least a little bit better as far as, like, having conversations about these things. We just segregate people, throw them off
But
to the
the
side,
problem
and
also
act like
is
they don't exist.
we live in a place where they say that, vaccines are giving people
I
autism.
don't know.
So it's like it
You know,
becomes like
we live in one of
it,
those
beco- it
shitty
becomes
zones.
like a socio-political issue.
Yeah, but, like,
And it's not.
you can't even
It really isn't.
yeah, it's really not, like, people are just absurd.
People, no, the problem is that when you have freedom, when you have free will, you're able to do whatever you want. And if you say that that's the objective for you, to say that, I'm more important than other people, that might be the problem.
Yeah.
We have measles vaccines, yet there's an uptick of measles because people don't want to take the shot.
Yeah.
Why? Because they 1+1 2, like 1+1 is fish.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, I understand. I think you should be skeptical of science too. I say so as a science degree holder, be skeptical of science.
Yeah.
But that also doesn't mean that science is wrong.
Mm.
Because not because I don't have faith in science, it's because I have faith in people. I would hope that people aren't trying to do something wrong to people.
Yeah.
One is, or the worst thing I've heard scientists do is take money from companies. And I mean that in the sense that some scientists, they did research, quote unquote research, with a small group of people. You can pretty much cater any sort of research to show people, and they did research that, if you drink wine, like 1 cup of red wine, if you drink that, it's good for your health. The truth is, none of it's good for you, and that was because the companies were struggling, the wine companies were struggling, so they had this research done so they can have more people buying their product.
Yeah.
So yet again, that's capitalism and all that jazz.
It's all
But
fucking bullshit, yeah.
but the fact is that we need to do better in all senses. But you should be skeptic, and have faith at the same time. Where it's like that, if this thing drops, it's gonna drop. Like there's still gravity and all these things. Like gravity exists whether you believe it or not. Okay,
Yeah.
We all exist. People with Tourette's, people with disabilities exist whether you believe it or not.
And
That's
whether
the
you want
point.
them to or not.
And whether you want them to, they will exist. They will continue to exist, and they're just as much of a human being than the rest of us. And that's not to say that they're superior or we're inferior or superior and they're inferior. We're all just human beings. Cut the check. There you go. We landed the plane, brother.
We did. We did. Usually I ask the question of what movie would you suggest that people see that I haven't seen in a very long time. I think I'm just gonna. I think it's safe to say that both of us are gonna just go ahead and say I swear.
I swear you should watch. I swear.
Yeah. There's really no reason. I hate to say no reason to ask that question to you, but
I will say this week I just rewatched or we watched Decision to Leave. We'll
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that later.
Yeah.
But I rewatched one of these movies. I think I told you about it last time. It's called it's called Munna Bhai.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Indian movie. There's two of them, like a first movie, second movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about I told you about this. It's about a gangster trying to fall in love with a woman, and he has to go to medical school to like make her father essentially like him. And it's like it's funny, it's dramatic, it's everything. The second movie, it takes up the responsibility of what it means to be like a human in this world, and how do you kill with kindness in a sense. But yeah, no, I randomly put that on. I was crying again and all that. So yeah, I love those sorts of movies too. I think this is one of those movies, where it's
Yeah.
like it's the value, the faith in humanity, and the fact that you need to understand that we're all different, but we're all similar. We all feel the same things,
Yeah.
So
Well,
the power of power of cinema.
yeah. You've already given I Swear a first watch, but would you give it a rewatch?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I think I gotta watch this with my dad. I gotta watch it. I gotta put people on game.
Yeah.
Because I hope people go see this.
Yeah.
And see it in the theater. Because remove everything else, I don't like biopics. I really don't.
I usually don't either.
And this movie unfolds so innocently, so straightforward in a sense that like it's not begging for anything. It's not he was born, this happened. No, it's just like, it just feels like a narrative story just in general,
Yep.
It reminds me of like the Iron Claw,
Yeah.
where it's like, it is a story that is like widespread and there's something happening, but it's ultimately this intimate story about character, and biopics can be about character, but sometimes the ego gets in the way, and there's no ego here, literally the first scene of the movie. He's literally yelling at the queen, and I'm like, yes, what I, like, I ride with this. I ride with this statement.
Yeah.
As a former, as a, my people were colonized by those people, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love being on the pod. I'm glad we talked about this one, because this matters. This really matters, man.
Yeah.
I swear.
Yeah. I love this movie a lot. And I hope that everyone at least gives it a chance. Not only to watch a good movie, but to educate yourselves a little bit.
And that's kind of, I think that's what documentaries usually do.
But this one does it
love
pretty well.
I love movies that do this, though.
Yeah.
I will recommend a movie, A Private Life,
Yes.
directed by Matthew Heineman, who is a pretty much a career-long documentarian who made a narrative movie about a journalist called Marie Colfin, who died doing her work, and it's about her career and about the power of journalism. And that's also a movie where we're kind of blurring the lines a bit, and it just feels so human to tell a story like that. So yeah, I can recommend a bunch of movies for no reason. I love movies, man.
Yeah.
We love movies.
I'm glad that you came on and let me rant a little bit, and we got to have this conversation. Because as soon as this happened, that was the first thing I did. I was like, "Yo, fuck
We
Beast
gotta
of
watch
No
this.
Nation. We gotta figure this out."
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we did. I just hope that other people give themselves the opportunity to do the same. Even if it's in a couple months, whenever it hits the States. Like, I'm not saying you have to go see this right now, but
it's coming out in April, but yeah, it'll be out even later. But still, yeah,
like,
the
go see
theater
it.
would be best.
Yeah.
Yeah, theater, and even if you don't, just watch the movie wherever it is.
Go watch this
I'm
movie.
pretty sure if you got a VPN for the UK, you can just watch it on Amazon. Wink, wink.
Well, yeah, it'll be on Netflix in the UK this month, I believe. So if you have a VPN,
you can watch it
take
right
care
now.
of it. Yeah, it's not out right. By the time this goes out, it'll probably be out, or at least be close. But yeah, you should do yourself the service of actually going to go see this movie. In any way that you can, just fucking watch it. Like I said, I'm very glad that we got to have this conversation. We have big conversations like this all the time, but to be able to do it on my platform feels a little bit special, and I'm glad that we got to do that. Not in that way.
That's the joke. Okay, see,
Yeah.
you have to be able to make jokes like that, man. Bro called himself special for no reason. Special, but not like that,
Yeah, not like that. Come on, dog.
I don't know about anybody else, but like in the South, that was a thing. Like, oh, he's special.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, I know.
Yeah, I know you. I know you know, but I don't know if like all these California folk know about this stuff.
No, motherfucker, I know. Trust me.
You lived it.
Oh yeah. Anyways, I know this is a bit of a more
serious
episode, but I'm glad that we got to do it.
Yeah,
and I already have a few people lined up as far as other disability movies go. That we're going to be talking about those in the future, and I'm really looking forward to that as well. But until next time, don't be a prick. Just go watch this movie.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.